We have breaking developments all new here at 6. Southeast Texas leaders meeting and preparing to lobby the state. They're sick of seeing these mass vaccination sites elsewhere. They want one up and running here in Southeast Texas.
Well, new shipments are on the way and as soon as next week. And local leaders say they're doing everything in their power to get them here. That includes forming a committee to lobby the state together. 12 News reporter Amelia White takes us through this process.
Jordan and Dage, it seems like we're getting a better idea and even a play-by-play game plan as to when and how Southeast Texas will see more vaccines. Judge Jeff Brennick and other representatives from Hardin, Orange, and Jasper counties met up with health officials today for several hours to discuss a vaccine rollout plan. From there, they'll appeal to the state's expert health panel for as many vaccines for the region as possible. The panel normally looks at population, case counts, and fatalities to put a final number on the shipments. Once the panel determines how many shots should be sent to Southeast Texas, Commissioner John Hessler with the Department of Health and State Services will sign off. This is expected to happen tomorrow.
That I know that the state is working very hard to get as many dosages as they can to the state. I know they're trying to push them out to the local areas. And we're trying to create an atmosphere where we're going to be able to handle larger shipments of the doses and get them to our citizens as quickly as we possibly can.
In the meantime, Judge Brennick and officials are working behind the scenes to prepare Southeast Texas for mass vaccination sites. Right now, officials are eyeballing the Ford Center as a mass vaccination center. Coming up at 10, I'm going to tell you what it's going to take to make this happen. Live in Beaumont, Amelia White, 12 News.
A single-shot COVID vaccine could be coming. Early trials for Johnson & Johnson's vaccine look promising. Data shows it appears to be safe and produces an immune response. The early trials included more than 800 adults, some over the age of 65. 90% of them developed neutralizing antibodies by day 29. Every participant had them by day 57. The most frequent side effects were fatigue, headache, and pain at the shot site. Results should be released by the end of the month on 45,000 people who were part of Phase 3.
Tracking local hospitalizations tonight, ICU beds still nearly full. Close to 52% of those patients, and 24% of general patients are fighting COVID-19. Now, looking at our regional numbers, ICU numbers have gone up. Almost 47% of those patients have the virus. As for patients in regular beds, more than 25% of them have COVID-19. The hospitalization rate is currently 26.6%.
Developing now, the Port Neches fire chief is out of jail after posting a $50,000 bond, but he's also out of a job. The city fired him today, a day after officers arrested him on child porn charges. 12 News reporter James Grant spent the day working to find out what's next for Nelson and the city of Port Neches.
The investigation into Nelson, who served as Port Neches fire chief for 5 years, began after the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children received a tip. Investigators say Nelson is accused of sending illegal images on social media. We know officers seized numerous digital devices from Nelson's home. Jefferson County District Attorney Bob Wortham calls it, quote, a sad situation. He tells 12 News they have very strong evidence in the case. Meanwhile, the Port Neches city manager has handed over control of the fire department to Assistant Chief Mike Stegall.
The department will continue to perform as it has in the past, and there's an exceptional group of committed firefighters within our department that are here to serve the community.
While the Texas Attorney General's Child Exploitation Unit is leading the investigation, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children played a crucial role in this case. Lindsay Olson with the nonprofit says while she can't speak about this particular investigation, she can shed some light on how investigations usually begin. Typically, companies like Facebook, Google, or Twitter find illegal material and report it to the center.
These companies are required by federal law to report any child pornography or any child sexual abuse material that they're aware of.
Olson says these companies and others can report obscene material to the center's 24-hour cyber tip line. Once that is done, the center takes over.
We are receiving this information in, and we're really trying to determine a possible location of where a child may have been victimized.
When the center zeroes in on a location, they contact local law enforcement agencies at the state and municipal levels to hand off their findings for further investigation. Port Neches PD continues to assist the Texas Attorney General's Child Exploitation Unit as the investigation into this case is ongoing. In Beaumont, James Grant, 12 News.
A Jefferson County grand jury has cleared a Nederland police officer who shot and killed an armed suspect in November. It happened when the officer responded to a domestic disturbance call. The suspect, Darren Jones, ran when the officer confronted him. Investigators say Jones refused to stop, refused to comply, and then showed a weapon. And that's when the officer shot and killed him. A grand jury heard the evidence and returned a no bill. That effectively means no further action will be taken.
New developments tonight. Tyler County deputies are investigating a deadly shooting near Fred. They were called out to a home off FM 1943 around 2 o'clock yesterday to check on reports of a stolen car. While there, they were notified of a shooting at the home. Now, when they arrived, they found a man with a gunshot wound along with the shooter, who was also injured. The victim was rushed to a Beaumont hospital where he later died. Deputies say that man had been driving the stolen car with stolen items from Jasper and Tyler counties inside. So far, deputies haven't made any arrests.
Right now, a live look outside with our Roofing 911 Skycam network, brought to you by Exceptional Emergency Center. Just a beautiful evening out there as the sun sets. You wouldn't know. We have a cold front moving through. Chief Meteorologist Patrick Vaughn is tracking that for us. Something tells me the 70s that we saw today may not be here tomorrow.
No, that's a real good hypothesis. Yeah, that's looking very promising that we could be good 10, maybe 15 degrees cooler tomorrow than today. Currently, the front now draped from around Jasper to Houston Hobby as it continues to push on to the south. No weather except for a wind shift line is associated with it. Otherwise, here locally, we're expecting temperatures in Beaumont to fall into the mid, say, 50s by 9, 10, 11 o'clock this evening as winds shift to the northwest. That'll drive temperatures down into the mid to upper 30s lakes, near 40 to the lower 40s in the triangle, and we've got wind chills to deal with. We'll tell you more about that in just a few minutes.
The rumors were right. Tonight, it is official. Lamar University has accepted an invitation to join the Western Athletic Conference.
Now, the university president made the big announcement today. 409 sports reporter Mike Canizales has more on what this means for Lamar.
After months of speculation, Lamar University is officially a part of the Western Athletic Conference. The Cardinals have spent the last 2 decades in the Southland Conference and will now compete in the Western Athletic Conference along with fellow conference members Abilene Christian, Stephen F. Austin, and Sam Houston State. The Texas Four are set to join the WAC on July 1st. Meanwhile, Southern Utah University out of the Big Sky Conference will make their move to the WAC in 2022. WAC Commissioner Jeff Hurd also announced the conference's intention to reinstate football at the FCS level beginning in 2022. The WAC hosted competition at the FBS level from 1962 to 2012. The additions will also create a 13-team conference that will be divided into 2 divisions for team sports other than football and men's and women's basketball.
The growth that the institution has experienced of late certainly is on people's radar screen. The institutions that we are joining are likewise in high growth modes. We are joining a healthy group of institutions that are making a difference both in higher ed as well as in the regions that they occupy. So we're excited to be here. This is a great opportunity for Lamar University and our student athletes.
In Houston, I'm Mike Canizales for 409 Sports.